We're talking amateur mixed martial arts development in Nigeria. Our guest is the president of the Nigerian Mixed Martial Arts Federation, Ambassador Henry George. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you could join us. I'm looking forward to speaking to you about MMA, amateur MMA in Nigeria. I have a bunch of questions for you. The first one is about development and growth. Can you tell us about the growth of amateur MMA in Nigeria over the past few years? What are the key factors that have contributed to its development?
Okay. MMA is a sport that already spread around the world, and Nigeria has been involved. So it has really inspired a whole lot of Nigerian youth. Looking at the nature of our Nigerian fighters, have a whole lot of talent in combat sports because of our history. Getting involved in we have a whole lot of warriors because of our kind of we have the Dambe, the wrestling, and all that. So we started MMA 2014 officially. Basically, I looked at we have the Nigerian Olympics, which is called the National Sports Festival. So then I was also an athlete, back days, So I went to that festival, and there's a compulsory 3 times or less the festival is open. But when you have completed your third time, you're not allowed to compete again. And so when MMA came, we saw MMA in other parts of the world. We saw that it's an opportunity to give to those fighters because most of those fighters were already retiring before their time, and experience in combat comes with age too, So it was a good one for us to embrace MMA and begin to develop. Then we saw that MMA, when the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation came out, Austin Willis, so we saw that this is going to be another unifying sport. So we immediately went into amateur mixed martial arts. That's 2014. So one of the major things that inspired the amateur system and MMA in Nigeria is fighters who were doing well already. Talking about the Jokos, talking about the poster boy. Then before Kamaru Usman and Israel Adesanya, Anthony Joko, and the rest of them.
Right on. In terms of grassroots involvement, how is the Nigerian Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Federation working towards increasing grassroots involvement in the sport? Are there any specific programs or initiatives in place? Because I follow you on Instagram, of course, on social media, and I see all sorts of great videos, training seminars and so on. So you guys are very active in developing the sport, training athletes and so on. I'm curious to know, if these are some like grassroots programs that you have in place or initiatives, if you could elaborate on those, please.
Yeah, we're working on the grassroots because, like I said, we have a whole lot of talent, a whole lot of fighters that want to make transition to MMA, and we know that for them to be able to excel, they need education. So we have to take the training to different locations, grassroots, going to various province and zones, like we have the 60 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Also getting involved because we know there's still BJJ much in MMA, bringing experts in BJJ and experts in MMA from America to come train our guys. So when the young ones, when they saw that we're doing the right thing, so a lot of them got involved. So, but the next thing we know that the government, because of how Nigeria system, the government needs to get involved because once the government get involved, the states will be given the mandate to develop the sport, and which means that these athletes will be taken care of because it must, talking about development of any sport, you must look at the welfare of the athletes. So it was very important for us to get the recognition from the government so as to have the various states going back to establish state associations and clubs, so which will now trickle down to local governments, communities, so that they can have state teams. So following that pattern, we had to meet up with the criteria that the government gave to us by establishing the sports in various states first. So that was one of some of the videos you saw. We have to go down to different states, encouraging athletes, letting them know that this is MMA and they can really do it. And the turnout was massive. So so the government gave us the approval, and I mean, it's really MMA has come to stay in Nigeria.
Right on. Curious to know, in terms of inclusion and diversity, and specifically women in MMA, is the federation ensuring the participation of women in the sport of mixed martial arts?
Yeah, very well. Like I said before, we're fully recognized. Even before we got the recognition from the government, we are fully recognized by the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation, which is the world governing body for amateur mixed martial arts in the world. And the women aspect is highly so important. So we have a committee which is being headed also by one of our top fighter. She has been a police officer. So what I mean is that if you look at what is happening in MMA in Nigeria, even the amateur the professional aspect, you see Nigerians recently seeing one of our female fighter in EFC just made making wave. Talking about Gillette Oka. So Gillette Oka is of Nigerian police. So we have a whole lot of women in MMA. Talking about sports in Nigeria, women are doing very well. So we are taking that aspect as serious as, because even in the Olympics, our first Olympic medal as a country was won by Choma Ajua, that's 1996. So it's a female athlete. So our women are really doing good. So we are very particular about they are really involved, and we have special programs for them, and we have the women committee in our federation.
Very interesting. I want to transition to the topic of talent identification. In terms of how do you go about identifying and nurturing talents in Nigeria? I know you kind of spoke about that earlier on in our interview, but it's a big country. There's a lot of people. I believe it's got the biggest population on the continent of Africa, Nigeria, right? How do you go about what is that talent identification strategy? If you can elaborate on that, please.
Okay, like I said, we go to different zones, bringing the training to the grassroots. We have partner with some of the promotions too, like DFC Africa. I've had a program called Training with the Champions, bringing those that are already have made debuts in MMA, that have started MMA, going with them and coaches to local communities, local governments, with a particular date, then we like athletes to register to come over. Then after the training, we're able to identify 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, as the case may be. Then not just identify them, nurturing is very important to us, and we encourage that we make sure we assign a coach that work them out, and it has been really amazing. And some of those athletes discovered in such programs are one of the top, some of the top tier fighters we have now in Nigeria. We are actually discovered through training with the champions and those grassroots programs. So we don't just train them, we also nurture them. Like the coming African Championship, we have talents that we'll be nurturing, and this is a very big opportunity for us to also expose them and try them out.
Outstanding. What's some of the feedback you've gotten from athletes and coaches and supporters of MMA? Have you gotten any feedback from them in regards to developing the sport within the country?
I didn't get that. Come again.
You want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, please.
Sure. What sort of feedback have you gotten from these athletes, these coaches, and supporters of the sport? What are they telling you is Is there a lot of excitement for MMA? Are people positive about it? Do they see, lots of opportunities for competition? What are they telling you in regards to the work you guys are doing?
The work speaks for itself already. Like those identified and we put them through the eyes of the cameras, and they are well known. And now we MMA is a sport that, like I said before, Nigeria is a country that love football. The football is huge here, but MMA is becoming another unifying sport in Nigeria. There's a whole lot of follow up, and there's a whole lot of support coming from the fans, coming from the media, coming from stakeholders, and that's really been encouraging. No wonder you see what is happening now. We have a whole lot of even promotions popping up, to ensure that these guys have adequate competition, to enable them excel. So we're having really feedback very impressive and good. So it's really nice.
Outstanding. In terms of athlete support, and I think you've already mentioned this earlier on, but I'll ask you again if you don't mind. What sort of support structures are in place for the athletes? This could include training facilities, coaches, nutrition, and mental health resources. When you look at the development of a system and ensuring that the athletes are developed or have the opportunity to enhance their overall skills and so on, what sort of structures are in place for these athletes?
Okay, it's in line with what I said about nurturing these athletes. One of the basic aim is to ensure that these athletes are well developed, and doing that is through education. As a federation, we make sure that MMA is a young sport, and most of those fighters, some of them are coming from different backgrounds, making transition to MMA. So the federation will organize programs, organize training, and giving them coaches to make sure that they develop and are well branded with required skill set for MMA. I can see in the rest other part of the world, you can see that talking from a technical standpoint, you can see the MMA is not just striking, fighting. There's this technical know-how. So the federation, we have been doing that to make sure that those guys are well trained and well educated. Last 4 days, we had anti-doping seminar for fighters, kind of educating them, because most of the fighters, they're not very much aware of what doping is. So we make sure that we give them the support to enable them grow and become the champions that we want.
Now, in terms of international partnership, you mentioned IMMAF, International Mixed Martial Arts Federation. Can you talk to us about how they've been supportive in assisting you guys in developing the sport in Nigeria?
Yeah, IMMAF has been very, very supportive. Like I said, the major ingredient that is needed to have the full development of any sport in any country is the government recognition. IMF gave us all the support, because when you have the government recognition, stakeholders will come in. The states will have to establish associations, and local governments will have to get involved in making sure that they have their teams. So IMF gave us real support. See, even during our demonstration in the National Sports Festival, which is the Nigeria Olympic, the IMF president, Kerry Brown, had to come to Nigeria in person to physically, as a special guest to foresee what that demonstration, the National Sports Festival, that was last year. And immediately after that demonstration, we got the recognition. So IMAF have been supporting, and also supporting the equipment that is needed too. So we are really grateful to them, and it has really aided our growth. Like now, Nigeria will have the ministry recognition and also the Nigerian Olympic recognition. So it's a big one for us. And these are things that are needed for full grassroots development of any sports.
It's very interesting to note that on social media, you guys are very active in promoting, MMA and all the work you're doing. I've been following you guys, and just I see all this great content, and it's outstanding. I'm obviously interviewing you for the Combat Sports in Africa podcast, but I'm actually located in Ottawa, Canada, and I'm interviewing you, and you're of course in Nigeria. And my next question is about international representation and aspects of promotion. How does the federation plan on promoting Nigerian fighters on the international stage and ensuring you're ready to compete at a higher level? I'm talking about that transition to the professional level, because you mentioned, of course, that there's a bunch of promotions now that are being set up all across the country. We know that because we see a lot of activity as far as MMA in Nigeria on the professional side and so on. So how do you guys plan on promoting it? Because we know that Nigeria has a great media landscape, in terms of your movies and all that. So I'm sure in terms of sports journalism, how are you guys going to promote your athletes internationally?
Yeah, we really are concerned about that because of the huge talent pool we have there. And just like I talked about football, we have so many of Nigerians, playing football outside. Like I said, MMA is going to be another big sport in Nigeria because of the attention we're getting from the youth and their nature, how strong they are, and all that. So basically, what we're doing first, like I said, is education, giving them the necessary requirements, and knowing that most of those fighters coming from different backgrounds, giving them required skill sets that is needed in MMA is paramount. Then we are partners with major stakeholders like the press here in Nigeria, and like you talked about movies, and a whole lot of them are involved. People are interested because this is sports that have gone mainstream, and we all understand what that means. So the federation, we are very much concerned about developing this athlete because we know in a very shortest time they're going to be exported. A lot of people are coming to have them, so but we want to make sure they are well grounded. And amateur system is what can actually give this kind of development, the rapid development, apart from the professional aspect, because the amateur system, by the time you go to a national championship and you win a gold medal, that means you must have done up to 4 to 5 fights to get to the finals. And by the time you go to 2 national championships, that means you have done 10 fights. 3 national championships, let's say 15 fights. So you can't compare such an athlete to an athlete that just went to just 2 professional fights. So the skill level and the experience can never be the same. So our major aim now is to make sure that these fighters are given the opportunity to excel, opportunity to try their techniques. Like we have a national champion program coming up 12 to 15 in those states. It's going to be a championship then 17th to 21st, 17th to 21st August is another national championship, open national championship, and the final trials for selection for African championship. So all these programs are to ensure that these fighters, get the required skill and required experience because we know in the shortest time they are going to be, doing that world skill. That's what
Very interesting. I want to go back to you spoke about some of the initiatives in regards to educating athletes on anti-doping and that sort of stuff, which is very important. Obviously, I want to talk about safety in general. Safety in combat sports, as you know, is paramount. How does the federation ensure safety standards are upheld during matches and training sessions? If you could speak to us on how important it is to communicate that to the athletes, but also stakeholders in general.
Yeah, like I said, education is key to us now because education is not just for the athletes or the officials, the referees must to be, provided or guided by the rules and also be equipped with the knowledge of officiating MMA. Because when you talk about the safety, the referee should know when to stop a fight. The referee should know when a fighter is unfit. The referee should know when a fighter is off. So we have been, if you follow us on social media, you can see a lot of programs, training that will be organizing for our referees, will be organizing for our officials to make sure that, because safety is paramount. And also, we have like other promotions that are also coming up. We make them understand that the referees, the officials, the programs must be sanctioned by the federation because primary aim or mandate given to us by the government is to regulate and to guarantee the safety of the sport in Nigeria. So this is not what we're taking. We're not taking it lightly. We're not taking it. We're not parochial about it. So training of the referees, training of the athletes, education of the athletes, education of the referees is what at this stage we are looking at because we want to ensure that the sport is safe and also certifying and sanctioning promotions, certifying referees, certifying professional fighters, certifying the cage, making sure that these things as the cage is there to certify to make sure it's safe. Because if we don't do these things, these are accidents waiting to happen, and which will also, not be good for the name of the sport. So this is what we're doing. Mostly is for athletes, for promotion, for officials to see the need to be dedicated in MMA.
Very interesting. I'm curious to know from your experience and perspective, what are some of the unique challenges and opportunities in developing amateur MMA in Nigeria? What are, I guess, let's start with the unique challenges and then let's segue to opportunities.
Okay, one of the major challenges we have, like I said, education. You see, most of those fighters, because MMA is a sport that is born on social media, so they watch these fights. They watch UFC, they watch Brave and FC and One Championship. So most of those fighters, when they come, they just want to go to professional. They just want to go fighting without having the required skill set and our major challenge is to make them understand, look, yes, you might be a champion in judo, but this is MMA. You need to know how to kick. You need to know how to kick safely. You need to know how to do this. So, letting them understand this and convincing them that they need to go through this training and acquiring the necessary skill needed for MMA is a bit of a challenge to us, but we are able to convince them. And a lot of them now understand because by the time they go to pro and they are overpowered and they see that there's need for, I'm a judoka, there's a need for me to learn a bit of striking, or I'm a striker, there's a need for me to learn a bit of grappling. Like I said before, we brought Joan Owen from the United States of America, who happens to be champion in BJJ and MMA champion too. He has been to Nigeria for like 4 times to train these fighters in BJJ. So this has been our challenge, but now we are making a headway and they are really understanding what. But for Nigerians love the sport. You already know the sport. They have been following champions like this Kamaru Usman. So already the awareness is there. But talking about the fighters, just have fighters that just want to go to pro straight without having knowledge of real fight. Even street fighters just want to go to pro and say, no, this is going to be dangerous to you. It's not just what you think or what you see.
For sure. Now, Ambassador Henry George, I have one last question for you. It's a two-part question. I really appreciate your time. I'd like to know, what is your vision for future of amateur MMA in Nigeria? And what are some of the key goals that the Federation hopes to achieve in the next decade?
Yes, we want to see MMA in Nigeria becoming another national sport. Because already the Nigerians are really following the sport. Nigerians want the sport. So what we want to see it really develop. We want Nigerians to know, like when you talk about football in Nigeria, they know we have good footballers. We want Nigeria to be the mecca of MMA.
Wow.
Especially in Africa, yes. We want Nigeria to be the mecca. And it's really exciting to note the turnout and how people are, concerned about the growth and the support we are getting from the government. So aim is our dream. What I see that is most important to us. The sport is going to the Olympics, and we want to be one of the first nations to pick gold medal in the Olympics once MMA goes to the Olympics.
Outstanding. Now, are you guys will be sending some competitors at the African Championship?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, that's why we're having the national championship coming up 17th to 21st August this year.
Okay, well, I look forward to interviewing at least one or two of your competitors after the African Championships, and maybe I'll get to interview you again if you're available. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Hope to see you in Angola.
Yes, I'd love to come. Maybe I'll see you there.